Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Point and Click Adventurers podcast with myself, Turian Shepard, and my friend YakWaxLips. How are you today, Michael?
I'm very well, thank you. Punching my microphone to start. Well done. Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Got a lot to talk about in this particular episode, I think, haven't we? A lot of very interesting bits and pieces.
Yeah, exactly. We were, I wouldn't say struggling for topics to talk about because there's always topics to talk about. But then, of course, Ron Gilbert went and released the new trailer for Monkey Island, which I'm going to start right off the bat. I thought was excellent, and I've watched it about 100 times already. Paused it, zoomed in, and all sorts. And yeah, but some people, as always, didn't like it. So yeah,
that's to put it mildly, I think. um, what have you been up to in the past couple of weeks on your channel?
Not a lot, to be honest. I'm pretty much I haven't done my trailer talk videos for about a month. Life has taken over, as much as I'd love to do YakWaxLips full time, it doesn't pay the bills, unfortunately. So I do have to do other things. So adventure game wise, I finally last night actually finished Born Punk.
Okay.
And really enjoyed it. It took like a good, I think it was like nearly 12 hours on Steam.
Okay.
And so that was excellent, and I'll have a review for that on the channel. But on the channel per se, it's pretty much just Broken Sword, more or less daily episodes. And I know we touched on this last time because you recently finished Broken Sword for the first time, but the director's cut version. Yes. And I don't remember the differences too much, but as I'm going through it, you can't die in the director's cut, can you?
No.
And the deaths in Broken Sword are brilliant. Like they're so just great. I purposely go out and find the deaths and forgetting how great they are. So that is, if you get a chance, definitely go and play the original one. So yeah, I'm about halfway. I don't even think I'm about halfway through. I've done Ireland and I've got back to France. I've not been to Syria yet. Not been to there's still loads to go. So that's pretty much me on my channel. And like I say, the trailer talk videos, I'm hopefully going to have one out this weekend because there's been a big trailer launched recently, which I want to mention.
And you did a deep dive into the gameplay trailer for Monkey Island.
Of course. Yeah, that's obviously the other big one on the channel. So I like I say, about a 15-minute deep dive where I played the trailer and then played it through again and stopped on pretty much every scene.
Yeah,
and just mentioned, all the new characters, returning characters, and all the new ones there, and kind of gave my 2 cents of what I think they are, what they look like.
Yeah.
And be interesting to. There's been a lot of comment on what people expect as well. One thing that I must clarify on my video as well, and I think you mentioned it as well, a few other people did as well, right at the start when it opens up to the storybook style thing.
Yeah.
You've got Elaine fighting, and I mentioned in my wrap up in my deep dive video that in Monkey Island 1 and 2, Elaine doesn't fight, and going off the back of what Ron said, it's just like this new Monkey Island starts where Monkey Island 2 finishes. So I'm thinking, well, everything in this scrapbook must be anything that's happened in Monkey Island 1 and 2. Not even thinking about Curse, Escape, and Tails.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I have a horde of people going, Michael, that's Morgan Le Fay. And I'm like, of course it is. But just with it, it's like because he says it's only Monkey Island 1 and 2, I automatically went with, well, let's ignore 3, 4, and 5 at the minute. So I'm just putting it out there that says I know that Elaine fought Morgan Le Fay in the 5th one, and Morgan LeAy is actually one of my favorite characters in the entire series. I think she's awesome, and I'm hoping she'll be back. Not hold out too much hope, but it's nice to see her in there. But I know that, and that's one of the things that I didn't mention in the breakdown of the trailer, which you think I would do because it's a deep dive of a breakdown. But there you go. Anyway, that was my initial view. I'll leave a link down below and all on the screen and stuff if you want to go and have a look at that. But I just before I came on here, I watched your quick wrap up video on the trailer as well. So what are your initial thoughts?
I mean, personally, I love it. I know that obviously the art style has caused. When we spoke on it here before, we said that there was a bit of controversy, and it's gone past controversy. I'm a big fan of the art, although it's very different, and it's not what I expected it was going to be. I always thought if there was going to be another Ron Gilbert Monkey Island, it would be pixel art. And of course, it's not. I don't think that's a problem. Not what I expected, but I quite like it. I understand people don't. That's fair. But everything that I've seen in the trailer looks pretty cool. As you say, there's references in that scrapbook to things that come after this story that we're going to get, which I guess is maybe Ron's way of trying, when he said he was going to try and keep most of it post like Curse of Monkey Island onwards canon. I guess that's what he's doing there. He's sort of saying these are stories that happen down the line, but we're going back to this story that you haven't heard about when Guybrush finds the secret of Monkey Island. So I think there's a lot of cool little references and Easter eggs that you really have to go almost frame by frame in it to see. There's people I didn't think we would see. Like there's a little clip of the loom guy and things like that in there that you can find, which is really cool. I've seen some people have gone, trying to interpret the little symbols on the wall of like the jail cell and things like that, really gone wild with theories. But I think that's one of the cool things about that trailer is there's so much in there that it sort of lets people come up with their own ideas of exactly what's going to go on. And I love it. I think it gives us a bit of a tease. There's more obviously that we don't know. I do wonder if there's going to be another trailer because there's no release date on there, although with everything that's happened, whether Ron will release another trailer, I don't know.
Yeah, it's I hope they do. It is I mean, we need to cover that as well because people might not know. I'm presuming if you're in the adventure game world, you will know. But yeah, I mean, in this basically what's happened is, Ron released the trailer about 4 days ago, just randomly on Twitter, going, "Oh, by the way, I forgot to post this," in the way that Ron does. Yeah, internet went crazy, going, amazing, fantastic. But there was that small group of very loud people, which is, like we keep saying, it's okay to not like something. However, on Ron's blog specifically, he was getting a lot of negative personal attacks, and I've seen a screenshot of some of the comments, and they're just really just inhuman, just like dregs of humanity. It's like it's a computer game at the end of the day. You don't hold the keys to the kingdom. And even I've had to delete 2 comments on my own video about the trailer because they were just really, really crappy comments and like attacking Ron. And so basically Ron's turned around and says, this has sucked all the joy out of talking about it and kind of shut up shop. He hasn't tweeted since. I think he retweeted something about Monkey Island the other day, but he hasn't said anything else. And it's just a massive, massive shame that such a small minority, small but loud minority, has ruined it for the rest of us. And you can't get away from it. Like you try and not talk about it, and we end up talking about it. Yeah, and it's really difficult. So that's like in a nutshell what's happened. So I'm hoping that there'll be a new trailer. I mean, it's July the 1st as we record this, so theoretically it's 6 months left to 2022. So in the next 6 months, it will be out. So that's what I'm grasping hold of and being like, and of course watching the trailer 1,000 times more and trying to analyze it even more. But yeah, it's a massive shame.
It is, and it's a lose-lose situation for everybody because the people making those comments don't gain anything by doing it, and everyone who was really excited for every little piece of news, like we were, are now potentially not going to get anything. So nobody wins at all. No,
Dominic Armato has been very vocal about it on Twitter as well. I don't know if you've seen, he's done a couple of threads. Yeah, the first one saying, basically, look what you've done, and not happy about that. But then he did post something else about 24 hours later, which I saw this morning, just saying that the overpowering shower of love that he's received from everybody else, and basically everyone that likes it, that likes the art, even those that are not keen on the art but want to support the game anyway. And we've seen, I don't know if you saw that guy who's done the actual handmade
I did artwork see that
already, like less than 24 hours. I thought that was absolutely awesome. And then all the other like artwork of the new characters, it's popping up left, right, and center already. It's like there's obviously a massive, massive load of love. So yeah, go and check out Dominic Armato's Twitter, because he's kind of like, initially I think he was getting really angry as well as Ron, and then took a step back and has come to it and has seen, the love that the fans have given it. And so go and have a look at that.
So he's actually quite an entertaining person to follow on Twitter. He puts some pretty cool bits and pieces up. But I think the thing with comments like that, and I don't know if you ever experience it on your videos, I get the very occasional hate comment on some of my videos. It doesn't matter how many wonderful comments you get. one hate comment can really just ruin your day. So to be sat there finally releasing this game and get all of that, I can't imagine what that's like to sit there and go, it must feel such a personal attack. Not going to share anything else about this anymore.
Yeah, I can see where it's coming from. I mean, like I say, hopefully we'll have something else out before it actually comes out. I mean, there's obviously going to be some kind of like build up and promotion behind it, but whether Ron himself will be involved. One thing that I have seen that Ron is involved in is the new talk at PAX West, which Space Quest Historian is she's chairing, and that's absolutely amazing. So that's, I think, the beginning of September. So whether the game's out then, so he's still kind of got that. So I imagine he's not just gonna stop doing promotion, full stop. You know, this is a game that's been probably 3 years in the works for him now. And I replied to someone previously. There's a comment on my YouTube thing. Again, he disagreed with the art, but it was a nice comment. I don't delete comments because they disagree with me. The 2 comments that I deleted on my channel were personal hate comments against Ron, so I deleted those. But anyway, this guy basically says, you know, you should take into account the look of the art and what the fans wanted for the past 30 years. And I responded with, well, why? Why should he do that? Like, it's his game. He created it. And so he's, I don't, this is going on a tangent here, but basically coming back to the fact that Ron is at this this event face to face, I think. But not only on that, you've also got Roberta and Ken Williams on that, and Dave Gilbert. So you've got Ron Gilbert and Dave Gilbert, no relation. So that's going to be super exciting to hear their thoughts on adventure games. Is there anyone else on that panel, or is it just those 4? I think there's someone else.
Quite a few names on there actually, but I'm hoping it's going to be live streamed for people who obviously can't go to the event. It'd be pretty cool to be able to watch it remotely, which I guess they will do in today's world. You would think they would live stream.
Well, Troll said that last year, well, whenever they did it before, it was on their Twitch channel. So we'll make sure that we figure that out, and we'll both post about that. Because I can't be in, I think it's either Los Angeles or San Francisco or something. Not Middle England, I'm afraid. So let's circle back to the start of the conversation and say, so I've discussed what I've been doing on my channel, which is obviously Broken Swords. What about you? What have you been up to?
Well, on my channel, I've actually just started first ever playthrough of Sam and Max Save the World, which is the Sam and Max game created by Telltale Games. I think they actually made 3, I believe. But they made Save the World. There's one that's something about time and space, and there's another one. But I never played them. So I played Hit the Road. Absolutely loved it. One of my all-time favorite LucasArts games. And so far, I mean, I've only recorded 20 minutes of it, but it's got that Sam and Max vibe, the little jokes, Max being absolutely just sadistic. I think Max is a wonderfully designed character. He's just literally everything he says gets a little chuckle, and it's so far enjoying it. So I've got that going on. Off of YouTube, I've been playing Intruder in Anticonia.
Oh yes,
quite a lot of that. So awesome. I guess I'm probably about 2/3 of the way through. I don't want to say too much because obviously it's not out until July the 8th. And this is July the 1st. So I want to keep it relatively spoiler free. Pretty good fun. The story's very good, sort of piecing together the mystery of who this girl is, how she got there, slowly uncovering it all is pretty cool. Puzzles are reasonably easy, I think, but I don't think that's a bad thing in adventure games. I know some people are very much, you've got to agonize over a puzzle for 20 minutes for it to be a good puzzle. But I think especially if you're trying to attract new people into the genre, sometimes that can put people off, especially if they're not used to puzzle games. So I think story-wise it's very, very strong, and obviously the animation's beautiful as well, and the backgrounds and things like that. So really enjoying that.
Cool.
So
and if you want to know more about that comes out on July the 8th, so a week from when this comes out. But you spoke to the developer for our next interview, which will be the following episode. Like how was that going? No spoilers, of course, because that'll be next episode. No spoilers. It was a lot of fun. It was really nice to talk to Ruben about sort of his background in game dev, and this is him and his wife's first commercial
game that they've put out there as an adventure game. So it's been interesting to see how his previous games have differed from this one. I won't say too much more because you've got to watch the interview in the next episode. But
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch that. Right, so that's what you've been playing. That's what I've been playing. I'm not sure what I've got coming up like next. Like I say, I finished Born Punk yesterday, and I have the list. I have Antiquania on my list, and I'd love to play it before it comes out so I can get a review out for it. I did play the demo, and really liked it. Like you say, the puzzles were fairly easy, but it wasn't really about the puzzles for me. It was just you wake up and you don't know where you are, and I like that premise. It's really cool. I'd just like to mention again last week's episode, or a couple of weeks ago, when we spoke to Ava from A Twisted Tale. Her Kickstarter was about 70% by the time we spoke to her, 50-70%. That smashed through the door. Like it's absolutely she's done so well with that.
I think it was literally 2 days after I spoke to her. It was that was it. It was done.
Really, it's awesome. I think it's about finished now. There might be 1 or 2 days left as we record this. But so that's if not, again, we'll leave links down below so you can go and help her add even more to that target. So I'm sure the stretch goals on there. And also a massive congratulations to a previous guest as well, Gregor Muller, who Casebook 1899 was also smashed through the Kickstarter target. He aimed for $15,000, and he ended up getting about 18 with a couple of days spare. So we will be seeing the full game of Casebook 1899 in the next couple of years. So well done, guys, on that. And I'd just like to bring to attention another Kickstarter game. Now, this is a demo which I played about a year ago. And have you ever played any Joe Richardson games?
I haven't, no.
No, they're like he did the Procession to Calvary, and I can't think of what the other ones were called, but it's like kind of like a trilogy where he's taken Renaissance paintings and animated them, and it's very, very Monty Python, brilliant, hysterical humor, really, really funny.
I think I know where you're going with this one.
It's not Joe Richardson, let's just say that. It's another guy. I do apologize, I've forgotten your name on here, but I think it's a solo dev, and I played the demo of The Frogs, and it's very, very reminiscent of that. He has just launched a Kickstarter, and it's an extended Kickstarter. It was about 60 days long, so I think at the time of recording this is about 40 left, and he's asking for he's asking for some money to finish his game. I will put the links down below for The Frogs. Have you heard of that one? You've played the demo at all?
I haven't played the demo. I saw it was during Steam Next Fest. It's one I've had on my radar for a long time. It's sort of ancient Greece style one, isn't it? It looks really cool. I've heard the humor in it is fantastic as well.
It's very good. It's really good. I'm not sure whether it's his. I don't know too much about it apart from playing the demo. I played it. It was a festival before last one, but it was really good fun. He's asking for some money for that. So good luck for that one. We'll post the links down below, and maybe get him on the podcast at some point. So that's very little news I've got. Is there any news from your side that you've heard about?
Did I see there was a release date for Lord Winklebottom Investigates announced recently?
Yeah, there is. That one's July the 28th, I think. So that's been on my wish list for bloody ages, over a year, I think, when it came onto my radar. I played the demo of that as well. And it's super good fun for that. Have you had a bash of the demo of that one?
I have. I played the demo. It's a while back now, to be honest. But sort of like a Sherlock Holmes-y feel. Sort of, but animals, which is a really cool little concept. It's a lot of fun. Good humor again in there. I love the way the art's drawn on the characters. I think it's really just fun and enjoyable, isn't it? It's basically, for those who haven't seen you, it's like a Sherlock Holmes, Agatha Christie-esque murder mystery in the 20s, but with animals. Lord Winklebottom is a giraffe with the top hat. And then there's loads of other animals in it as well that are wearing little clothes. The demo was fun. I can't remember too much about the demo, to be honest, but it was good. I went straight on my wish list, and so that comes up at the end of the month. So maybe again another dev to get on the podcast. If going on that line, if you are a dev or not, if you just in the scene or whatever, and you want to chat to us, we're very likable. Let us know down below in the comments, and we'll see what you're doing. We have got about 2 months
2 to 3 months of interviews already kind of lined up. So
Yeah.
really, really exciting guests, including not developers.
Yes.
Because I know the previous, however long, I mean, we've been doing this for about 2 or 3 months now. And they've all been developers, which is no bad thing, but it's nice to get someone else on.
Yeah, it's nice to hear about different parts of the industry and sort of what everyone's doing, really, rather than just hearing from that one part of it, because there's so much more going on than just developing games.
Yeah, exactly. Which kind of leads us on nicely to this week's guest, who is not a developer, and it's been probably one of the most fun interviews that I've ever done. The amount of energy. It was like the odd couple that I was speaking to. It was really like, So I spoke to Marcus Mirror and James Carroll, and they gave me exclusive information about Colossal Cave 3D Adventure, which is, of course, the brand new game coming out from Sierra founders Ken and Roberta Williams. So I think we'll just launch straight into it, and we'll discuss it afterwards. So here, enjoy very much so. Marcus and James from Colossal Cave 3D Adventure. Just a few months ago, it was announced that Ken Williams, the founder of Sierra Online, had secretly been working on a new game over lockdown, and that game was recently announced as Colossal Cave 3D Adventure, made by Ken and his new company, Cygnus Entertainment. And I've been handing an exclusive interview with lead artist of Cygnus, James Carroll, and kind of head honcho, I guess you could say, Marcus. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining me here. How are you doing?
No, I'm not the head honcho. Don't give me. I don't like titles. No titles.
No title.
I guess I'm the guy that pulled Ken and Roberta Williams out of retirement. I guess that's my role. No, I mean, I'm an artist, and I actually, prior to being in video game design, which I'm a master jeweler. I have clients like Harry Winston, Van Cleef, and some of these really high-end jewelry companies that I've produced since 1999. I started in the business, and I started 3D modeling around 2003, using that to make jewelry designs that I would 3D print. So what happened was I moved out of the city due to some marital things, and I started collecting video games and like Commodore 64s and things like that, because I got nostalgic being in my parents' house. I started thinking about those things. So one thing led to another. I would have like one Commodore, then I bought another Commodore, and before you know it, I had found the original King's Quest 1 for the IBM PC Junior, and in that lot I also found a game called Adventures in Serenia, and I posted it on a Facebook group, and all of a sudden this pretty, like, very famous collector right now, he's in big trouble for selling forgeries, this guy Enrico Riccardio. I read about that. He messages me. He's like, "Oh, don't tell anybody, but now you have a game I want." And I'm like, "Oh, wow." So I knew I had a really rare game, and there's a museum nearby, and they were having a show on vintage computers called the VCFE, Vintage Computer Federation. And I called up Jeff Brace, and I'm like, "Hey, Jeff, I just found these two really rare games. You guys always talk about the computers. Why don't we talk about Sierra Online and how these games were made and the history of these games?" And he's like, "Hey, Marcus, that's a really great idea. Oh, by the way, Ken Williams, the designer of the game, he'll be at the event too, doing his presentation. We'll have you lead into him." And I'm like, "No way." So like, here I am all excited and, nervous. And I message Enrico. I'm like, Enrico, I'm like really in trouble here, because I gotta like give a presentation. I don't know anything about, I mean, I know about it, but not good enough to go in front of thousands of people and talk about it. He's like, "Well, I know Ken Williams. Why not make an introduction?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." All of a sudden, here's Ken Williams messaging me. I'm like, hello. And he's like, I heard you're doing an event. Do you need any help or anything? I said, "Yeah, I really like to know more about the history of these games." And he's like, "Well, I just wrote a book." I said, "Oh, cool." He's like, "Why don't I send you a copy?" So he sends me a copy of it, and one thing led to another. I finally finished reading the book about a month later, and I stayed in touch with him. And I basically said to him, I finished reading the book. He's like, "What'd you think?" I go, "Wouldn't it be great if you made a comeback like Steve Jobs did at Apple, and he's like smiling and he's like working on something. I'm like, I know you don't know this, but I'm a 3D modeler. I do it for making my jewelry, and I'm an artist. And he goes, oh wow, I didn't know you're an artist. I need an artist. And he's like, I'll be in touch in a few days. A few days later, he's like, hey Marcus, what are you up to? And I'm like, anything you want, big boss. You know, I was like, wow, here I am, like, you know, working with Ken Williams. I couldn't believe it. And it's been like almost 2 years. And we started off just him and I, and then slowly but surely, like I, you know, would be asking Roberta questions, and, you know, she'll look over to Ken's shoulder and be like, no, not like that, like this, you know, and I knew that just by keep on asking her that, you know, she'll catch the bug, and there's no way that they're going to put their name on a game. And I've never made a game before in my life that I'll be the only artist. And I was like really hoping to get more artists. The only title I want is the guy that helped bring Ken and Roberta Williams out of retirement. That's the only title I need.
We'll say that. Right. So James, well, lead artist James Carroll. So that's an easier title. So
yes.
How are you doing, James?
I'm doing great. I'm actually one of 2 lead artists on the team. The other artist's name is Amber Johnson, and she's actually really talented as well. And we've got about 3 people on our team each, and we're working on different regions of the game at the same time. So I'm tackling one region, Marcus is on my team, and I've got 2 others, and she's got about 4 people now. So it's kind of grown. We started out with just a few artists. You know, we had Marcus and we had Amber and we had Emily, and recently, you know, as the game has progressed, we've brought on more and more people.
Yeah, awesome. So one of 2
programmers. Ken loves to collect awesome, talented programmers, and if you're watching this right now and you think you are like that top caliber programmer, send us an email and you may be hired. I'm not even joking.
Oh wow, well there you go. That's an exclusive. I'll leave all the links down below, so you can definitely get in touch with you guys. Now, for those of you who may not know, this podcast talks about adventure games. Mainly, we talk to lead developers. We've never had a lead artist on. So, in layman's terms, what is your role? What is a lead artist? What do you do?
Okay, so mainly what I do now is I watch over the team, make sure that we're doing everything in the appropriate style. Everything meshes well between the different rooms of the region that we're working on. And then I make sure that the scene is set up in such a way that the programmers can come in and place triggers and various collectibles. We do have a kind of like a pointer system on VR. So we've had to go with like this 2-layer collider system, one for the player, one for the cursor, so that it goes over the items in the room. But it's not going to be like in your face if you walk up against a collider as the player. So that's been a challenge that we've had to overcome. And the other aspect of my role is basically managing our version control. So each team basically has this branch where they're working on, and then the dev team has its own main branch, and we kind of merge up into the main branch. So before everyone's work gets put into the main game, it basically has to go through a process of making sure that the files that get pushed up to that main branch for the game are clean and ready to be injected.
Yeah, so you quite high level of responsibility there. So how, like, Colossal Cave was...
Wait, I just want to cut in here for a second.
Go for it.
He's not just an artist. He is a technical wizard. He troubleshoots things that are like highly like engineering level stuff. He's a programmer, coder, animator. He's like done some really serious animations for us, and
I appreciate it.
He's really, 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 and he manages the team, right? So he makes sure everybody is on task, and we have the most insane deadlines you have ever heard of, and we're getting it done. And he's the reason why. Well, him and Amber are the 2 main reasons why.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Now, so you say you got a big team, and Ken collects people to the team. So what's your team looking like at the minute? Like, how many people are working on Colossal Cave 3D Adventure right now?
At least 24 people right now, full time.
Yeah,
full time. Wow, that's pretty hard going there. So James, coming back to kind of like how you started and how you were introduced to Ken and how you kind of got involved with this secret game that Ken was working on.
Right. It's kind of interesting. I work as a freelancer, and I got an invite to the project, and I guess it was one of several that Ken had sent out, and he was looking for like a lead artist level talent. And I responded to him immediately. And then he came back and he was like, okay, I'm going to shop around, see if I can find anyone, see which one's the best. And then I was surprised that he came back, and messaged me of all people. And, I called him like within the minute. So yeah. And then he showed me the game, he onboarded me, and we just went from there.
Yeah. So how long have you been working on it then?
Wait, you gotta say the funny part, how when you got onboarded, you found out your old professor is Amber.
Yeah.
Was there.
Oh, really?
And that was just so ironic,
Yeah, that was pretty ironic. Yeah, she used to be an old professor of mine for an environment art class, and she's the other lead. So that's pretty great.
Well, she must have been good then.
As a lead artist, by the way, I actually was given that role later on as the project expanded.
Okay, so what were you brought on for initially then?
Just environment modeling artwork. And then I guess the artwork spoke for itself, and then we decided to split the team up because there was just so much work to be done. It needed some delegation, and awesome. Then that's how I got the lead role.
Yeah. So, Colossal Cave 3D adventure is, it's a game from the 70s. You're talking like 50 years old now, something like that. How much were you aware of that history? And obviously Roberta loved it, and there's her segue into games and all that. Like, how much did you know about that, and how much pressure did that add to it?
I actually didn't know much about it. I mean, I had heard references, of course, to the text adventure because it's just throughout culture, like it's all over the place.
Yeah.
But the more I dug into it, the more I was realizing, hey, this is a really big deal. We need to really do a good job on this. So yeah, working with Ken and Roberta has been amazing, and it's been a great opportunity for sure.
Yeah. Cool. So what were you doing just before this? Like, what kind of previous projects have you worked on?
I worked on a pet project for Aspiring Unicorn Games. I think, yeah, Andrew Bear. He was starting his own company. He used to work, I believe. Oh no, I'm blanking. He used to be a lead UI artist for Borderlands, I want to say, but he started a company, and I did some character artwork for him with some like interchangeable pieces and stuff. I've done a few freelance contracts for various people, like Verizon. Like sometimes I'd do 3D models for them for like their holiday collection or something. I'd like bake down details to like VR or AR ready models.
Yeah,
kind of. He's going to be famous after this game.
You're going to be in demand, definitely. Now, yeah, you did mention there actually that VR. So it was initially announced as Colossal Cave 3D adventure in VR. It's not a typical adventure.
Well, no, it didn't start that way. It didn't start that way.
It didn't start that way. Oh, right. Oh, elaborate.
No. When I first worked with Ken, when Ken and I first started, right, in the beginning, it was just going to be a 3D version of the game.
Okay.
And then as we progressed, and Ken and I are talking, we really wanted to get, we know we're going to get all the fans of the old Sierra games to come no matter what. They're going to try the game regardless. Yeah. What we really wanted were today's kids. And when I say kids, like, the teenagers of today and the gamers of today, to really love this game and give it a try and play it. And I said to him one day, I go, Ken, if Sierra was here today, this game would be in VR. Sierra was always the leader of like technology, with the Roland, with the sound cards, and just always like leading the way. And right now, VR is like is in that stage where it needs a great game to lead the way and pave the way. Because a lot of the games were not really that big, or were more like demos almost.
Yeah.
And at that moment when I said it to him, like a light bulb went on his head, and we literally had a programmer hired to convert whatever I did into a VR, and I had the Rift. And I got to tell you, the first time I I walked into my artwork and I'm like, oh my God, this is like wild. And I was grabbing like assets from Unreal Engine store. What was it called? Quixel Mega Scans. Yeah. And I'm like standing and looking at these flowers in 3D and I'm like, whoa, this is wild, right? So, from that point on, people kept on thinking when we finally announced it, that it's just a VR game. It's not. Like we're going to be, a PC version and a VR version. And it's two different it's the same game, but two different experiences for sure.
Yeah.
It's completely different experience.
That was going to be one of my questions actually, because it's like, it's the same game, but in VR and in just like a regular PC. So how hard is that from a development point of view and an art point of view to implement? Is it something easy, or is it just like a flick of a switch?
It's challenging.
Challenging.
Not at all.
You have to definitely take metrics as you go, like from the very beginning, like keeping track of batch counts, poly counts, managing your texture sizes, and just making sure you're using texture atlases and reusing assets as much as possible so it can batch together. Yeah, there's a bunch of technical challenges to VR.
I lost sleep. I lost an entire summer last summer, like didn't go to the beach or anything because I had to convert all the artwork. We had to bring in more artists because I couldn't do it by myself. And it was really technical. And honestly, I didn't have the proper skills for it, because I'm more of a sculptor, 3D artist. And a lot of the gaming art has to be very efficient and highly efficient and done correctly. And, thank God for James, Amber, Emily, and the rest of the team, because they do it right.
Yeah, I think we restructured. After that, we made Amber made the white boxes for all of the regions, and then we kind of took a more conventional game developer approach from that point on.
Yeah, cool. So just before we headed on here, you did just ping me, Marcus, actually say we've got an emergency meeting with Ken, push the interview back half an hour. What's it like working with Ken and Roberta? Does he do that often? Has he got a lot of notes? And also, I'd just like to add into there, how involved is he in like the day-to-day of creation of the game?
Are you kidding me? Even if he's in the hot tub, I guarantee you he's got his phone with his teams and is like, oh, are you guys done yet? Or, is that next? No, they are on it. Like and the meeting was intense, right? Am I right, James? That was an intense meeting.
It's always intense.
It was really intense. And, why don't you tell them how you feel, James? Like, how do you feel like working with them?
Yeah, Ken and Roberta are great to work with. Ken is very, very driven. He wants to get the game to a state where we can test and where we can polish it up and make it look really nice. And, he's really pushed us to that point. We're actually very close to having all of the regions done, at least
by the deadline that he set, like literally.
He said, yeah, which was crazy because he told us at the beginning of this month, like, oh yeah, we're just going to finish all the regions. And we're like, what? how are we going to finish all the regions in 1 month? What we had left after the other regions.
We're pulling it off.
Yeah, and we're pulling it off. I mean, we brought in several new artists, and they've actually been great in terms of getting the work done. And Roberta's got a real vision for the game, and she'll play it from the player perspective, and she's really good at doing that because she doesn't have as much of a technical background as the rest of us. So it really challenges us to push the artwork a little bit further in what we can do in terms of animation and putting characters in, because she's like, oh, wouldn't it be neat if we put, such and such here? And we would never even think about it because we're thinking about the technical limitations of it all the time. Right. And she pushes us to that next level.
And she's fun. And she's like humorous and, an amazing storyteller. And but we've been in marathon art design meetings. Am I right, James? There were some that were 4 hours long.
Oh yes.
And then we'd have Ken's meeting right afterwards. It's like,
wow. So coming back to the art style, you say Roberta's got a very specific vision, very creative. From your point of view, James, how much freedom do you have? And where does your style come from? Do you have to align with Roberta, or does she kind of just
it's
give you
kind of
ideas.
interesting because I find myself aligning with Amber more than anything Roberta has said in terms of like how things should look.
Yeah.
It's from Roberta's perspective, it's where things should be and how it should be structured, and how it should be played as, and how it should be as an experience. And to that end, we're only restricted basically by the original text descriptions, because she's very insistent that we match the original game as much as possible. We're restricted by that, and then her vision for what should be going on in each scene.
And she is adding, like, this is, to me, this is Roberta Williams's Colossal Cave, because she has added an entire backstory that doesn't exist in the original game.
Yeah, it kind of ties things together in a way the original game didn't. And we've got rooms that reference other rooms, and that's in the original game as well. But like everything, even on the back end, like programming wise, like all of the percentages for the random rolls and everything are the same. You know, they're just matching everything to a T as they can, and then building on that and making it a better experience for 3D.
Wow. So in terms of the story, then it's pretty much like
we're not telling you nothing.
I tried to dig a little bit, but no,
nope.
No.
Don't even go. You see, that cut you off even before you went there.
Oh, you're good at your job. You're very good. Very well played. Okay, then. So let's talk to working as a team. Now, obviously, COVID. Ken wrote that book in COVID, which I have read, and you said as well, Marcus, you've read, and it's kind of like how you got in touch and stuff. Like a lot of people did different things over COVID, and working remotely is one of them. So I'm assuming that you guys are all pretty much dotted around the country and around the world, or
yeah, we're around the world. There we have Kyle's from Thailand, so yeah, we're around the world. But no, we don't have an office like in the building, and we don't clock in like that.
Yeah, with like a small team of like 2 or 3 people, I can kind of get that. But with, like you say, 24 people, that's quite a monster to handle. I mean, how does that work?
Meetings. Yo, we got to a point where we were in the chat, right, where it couldn't handle the amount of people anymore. We had to switch to the team chat, and it was like, that's like a milestone, right? Like, we went from Slack to team, and then team was maxed out. We had to switch to the team chat, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, it's surprising. We actually had 24 people in a video call at the same time. I'm really surprised that Teams supports that, actually.
Yeah. Wow. So let's talk about Cygnus Entertainment then. So this was created purely for.
There's a T-shirt.
Nice one. It's a great logo. Created purely for Colossal Cave 3D Adventure. What is the plans afterwards? Are there plans? Because you said just now on this podcast.
Okay, I got a plan.
People.
My plan is to make sure they keep doing this. So we got to make this game so successful and so like world loved that Roberta's like, all right, what's next? Like, let's keep going. That's what I'm hoping for. But if there, number one is like, get this game done and get it done to a point where it's like loved and really, well received. And then we'll take it from there, I would say. Is that a fair assessment, James?
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely would like to see this be a success. It's got charm. Like, I mean, even in its earlier iteration where like the art wasn't optimized and everything, it still plays with that kind of like that classic game feel. And I really like that. And I think that the latest generation could benefit from that.
Well, as you could tell, I'm a huge fan of retro games, and I got my Space Quest, my King's Quest, and I played those games in the 80s and and the 90s, and so it's in our blood, like it's just part of our DNA. This is how we grew up, and and Ken and Roberta were definitely part of my childhood, and I think it reflects in the passion that we have to put out the best possible product and not half-ass this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be frank.
Yeah, to be frank, yeah. Now like you said, Ken is very, very passionate, and you have a lot of meetings, and he's got a vision. And you've got I was rereading his blog just before this as well, because he writes fairly often on the blog that he's got, and his recent one says that you kind of want to get it out by October. I mean, where are you progressively now?
So I just asked the question, did I not, James?
Yeah.
Okay. We're on track.
You're on track. Okay, so is there?
I'm not saying we have a lot of hurdles to go through, especially the beta testing and then the official, reviews and tech reviews, but we are on track.
Yeah, we've got to do some deep dive profiling on like where things are slowing down in the game, whether that's art or programming. It remains to be seen, but we
still have a lot of alpha graphics in right now and that we're building out. We're going into the polishing phase come the in America we have the 4th of July, so we have a holiday. After that holiday, we're going to be full blast into final polish, and we hope to get it done within the 3-month time frame.
Wow. So it's 20th of June as we record this now. So 3 months time, October time, there's going to be a brand new Ken Williams game. I mean, how do you guys feel?
Roberta Williams is
Ken and
Cave.
Roberta Williams game. So how do you feel like as a rather? Let's take away the fact that you're working on it, but how do you feel as a fan that this is happening?
Me, I think it's like stunning. It's unbelievable, right? Like, in fact, what was hilarious was when I first was brought on, working on the project with Ken for 6 months. I couldn't tell anybody. He's like, "Don't tell anybody. I may pull the rug on this. I'm not sure. I might do this under a different name." And, finally, I built out a prototype that was working and he was really happy with it. He's like, "Okay, go ahead, Marcus. Tell everybody that you're working with me and that we're putting out this game." So I go on Twitter. I go, "Hey, everybody, I'm working on a game with Ken and Roberta Williams." You wouldn't believe the reaction I got. It was like, "No way, you're not. No, who are you?" Like, like they're on a yacht, they're retired. They've been saying for years that they're not going to come back.
Yeah.
Well, the fact is, once they messaged Ken and he confirmed it, like everybody was like excited. And what I got to tell you is when I go into meetings like with these different companies and people that are in the industry, the number one thing they all say, like in the beginning of the meeting, is like, "Oh, Ken or Roberta, if it wasn't for you and your games, I wouldn't be here right now at this job. You guys inspired me." Virtually every single meeting, or when we were at the GDC, we were told that our area in the GDC had the most traffic. They had like these heat maps, and we had the highest concentration of people visiting the booth and getting pictures with Ken and Roberta, and like just the excitement. So you can feel it, like in today's meeting, how intense it was, right, James? Like, it was intense. And I'm like, I'm really feeling it today. So yeah, I mean, we're excited.
Yeah, we're really pushing to get it done right now.
Yeah, awesome. So October time, touch wood, that we'll have Colossal Cave 3D adventure. I'm pretty much running out of time here, guys. So I just want to ask one final thing and cheekily say, spill the beans on anything that we don't know yet. Go on. Just let us know what's going on. Anything you can release.
I don't think so.
No.
No. You didn't have the right password. You got to remember what the password is to get the info.
Oh my word! I've played King's Quest. I'm never going to remember that off the top of my head.
No. You don't have the password. Here, I'll give you a hint. Ready? Can you see it?
Ken sent me. Brilliant.
There you go. That's the password.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. And where can I get one of those snazzy Cygnus t-shirts as well? Because that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll let you know soon enough. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I really, really appreciate your time tonight, guys. I know you are super mega busy, and so to fit me in, I'm genuinely privileged for that. And is there any news on when?
I can give you one little hint. We have a new trailer, and I gotta say, James, those animations,
wow,
it's spectacular. And I believe July 11th, you will see the new trailer.
Wow.
And something else. And I'm not going to tell you what that other thing is, but you will potentially see a new trailer July 11th. I believe that's the date.
Really exciting, guys. Thanks for that. I will make sure that I put it in my diary, and everyone else watching and listening to this, put it in your diary, because July 11th is going to see more of Colossal Cave 3D Adventure. So Marcus and James, again, I reiterate, thanks very much for your time tonight, and I'll let you get back to your very, very hard work, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So there you go. Like I said, the odd couple. James was very much stoic, very much calm, laying the land of what he does. And there's Marcus, like animated and just like, oh my God, man. It was so fun. And that little recording there, I recorded beforehand and after. And yeah, it was so much fun. What do you think about the interview?
I thought it was brilliant. When you sort of sent it to me before, I watched through it. And yeah, Marcus's energy was just unreal. Like the enthusiasm he's got for what they're doing is just amazing to see. It seemed like you guys all had a really great time there. And then obviously James was really interesting to listen to what he does, because I'm glad you asked what his role actually entailed, because I was watching it thinking, what does sort of a lead artist do in a video game? But it was nice to hear from, we've had a lot of solo devs and things like that on here. It was nice to hear from the other side of things, where you've got a massive team all working on different parts of a game at the same time, to see what that's like. And also to hear what it's like working with Ken and Roberta Williams. It sounds like it's very full on, very intense, but also very rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I touched on in that interview, like the interview was supposed to be at a certain time, and literally 5 minutes before I went to go live, I got a message from Marcus just like saying, Ken's just pulled us into an emergency meeting. We're going to have to push this meeting back. I'm like, emergency adventure game meeting. All right, okay. And then I spoke to him just before recording, saying like, is everything all right? And he was just like, it was just so intense. There's a lot to do. I was like, wow. And yeah, and talking about Ken and Roberta, that's what he's always been like, apparently. Growing up as an adventure game fan, I never really touched the Sierra games.
Yeah,
I was all about LucasArts. So I came to Ken and Roberta Williams fairly late. So I don't know too much of the backstory, but yeah, just to hear from almost the horse's mouth about what's going on, it was so fascinating. I did try my hardest to get some extra details out, but it was just like, no. But yeah, it's good to know.
Shut you down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if you didn't catch it there, the exclusive was that there will be a brand new trailer on July the 11th. So that is going to come out. And he said, and something else. So whether there's going to be a demo, playable demo maybe,
Could be.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And one other thing that I did mention right at the end, because we had such a great time. The reason let's circle back a little bit. The reason that we got James on, when I contacted Marcus, when we first started this podcast, I put out things saying, any adventure game devs come in. And Marcus contacted me saying, we'd love to talk about the game.
Yeah.
So then I was just like, oh, can I speak to Ken? And he was like, no. I was like, he is mega busy. But we can sort something out. And then got contacted by James, said like, this is James, he's the lead artist, he'd love to talk and that kind of thing. So but at the end of that interview, I did turn around to Marcus and just be like, I've had a great time, yeah, really, really good. I was like, slip it in there. Can we speak to Ken and Roberta maybe? And touch many woods, he was like, yeah, okay, that seems like something we might be able to do. So hopefully, fingers crossed, toes crossed, as the game comes out October, be good to get to speak to the legends that are Ken and Roberta. I'm prepping myself now in July.
Yeah, that would be unbelievable, to be honest with you. But yeah. It was one of the things that I loved the most about the interview, was hearing them talking about how they got set all these crazy deadlines, and all of them were going, we're not going to be able to do that, we're not going to be able to do that, but always managed to do it. And it just shows how good they are. They're masters of their craft in the industry and the genre. They know exactly how to put together a game and do it properly, don't they?
Yeah, there really was. It was like they were both gentlemen and both like full on professional. And it sounds like the team have got a really good work ethic, like you say. Yes. Just they're there for the game. They're not there just to mess around and stuff. Like they're giving it their all. So what would be? I mean, my dream team would now be, so we'll have Ken and Roberta beginning of October, and then a week later, Ron comes on. I mean, that's the aim, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then old skies as well from Dave Gilbert and Wadget Eye. We'll get Dave. Actually, Dave's already said he would gladly come on. So hopefully Dave will be on as well. So yeah, up and up in the adventure game world. So is there any other news or anything else that you want to bring to the front before we wrap up today's episode?
Not news so much. Maybe we talk a little bit about what we've got planned channel wise going forward, because we haven't done that for a couple of episodes actually. So
Yeah,
what have you got in the pipeline for? Obviously, you mentioned a couple of reviews and things for some of the games you've been playing, but is there anything else?
I've got a few secret projects on the go, which one is something that I started about 5 or 6 months ago and then put on the back burner. It's a big LucasArts one-off video about a specific aspect of LucasArts history. And I've done a lot of research and I've got some almost exclusive footage. It's not quite exclusive, but it's not been seen that often. And again, it's something that I'm working on. So when that comes out, I don't know, but that will hopefully be out within the next 3 or 4 months. It needs a lot of work. In terms of the general stuff, like I'm saying, playing through Broken Sword, and then I'll go on to the rest of the Broken Swords Let's Plays. And then the trailer talk's coming up. And one idea that I had the other day actually was, I don't know how viable this is. I typed in Google, I think it was just like adventure games, or just point and click adventure games. I went on Wikipedia and they have a list starting with the Sierra, very first one, what's it called? The Mansion. I can't remember what it's called. Mystery Mansion. Yeah. From 1980. And then it goes all the way through to today. And I thought, wouldn't it be good to just make like a little video on each one of those, you know, maybe play each one and do a tiny little review. And yeah, so my cogs are turning, my brain's still sparking about that. It's also realizing that that's a stupidly massive list,
yes,
with hundreds and hundreds of games. But it's one of those that is like long term, so like years down the line. So I could do like one a fortnight or something like that forever, and just so that's on the list. Plus a bunch of Monkey Island stuff. Whatever comes out, I'm going to cover it. What about you?
I mean, in terms of Let's Plays, it'll be Sam and Max, and I've got obviously Broken Sword 2, which I'm finishing off. I'm getting to the end of Space Quest, not enjoying Space Quest 6 as much as the others actually.
It's a shame.
It just feels a bit disjointed, and there's good moments and just moments where you just think, like, what am I doing here? Like, it's just a bit. But I've got that. Police Quest will be happening at some point down the line. King's Quest as well, probably very far down the line. So I want to get through a lot of the Sierra stuff, because like you, I grew up as a LucasArts kid and I just missed out on so much of it. Even like non-Quest stuff, there's so much out there that I will realistically never be able to play because there's too much. And then with all the indie stuff coming out as well, I mean, we'll never be able to keep up with all the adventures which is a great thing, not a bad thing at all. And probably just the odd Monkey Island video here and there, little theories and stuff. I did a little bit of a backstory on LeChuck's character recently, and
I saw that was like a day or two before the trailer came out. So I was like, you fell on that one pretty well, actually.
It's sort of like a little theory of whether LeChuck might get a little new form or something in the game at some point. So probably a couple of little theory things, hopefully Ron won't just release the game like one day after me making a video theorizing something that doesn't happen. So a couple of bits and pieces like that, and just trying to bring a bit more positivity to return to Monkey Island, I think, is probably a good thing at the moment.
And to try and brush all of that negativity under the rug. Definitely. Well, no, I just wanted to give a shout out to a couple of YouTube channels. We've been meaning to do this for absolutely ages, and then we ramble on, and then we just forget. So just want to say a big shout out to the Adventure Game Hotspot, which is a fellow adventure game podcast started by Joshua from Weird Gaming Adventures and including Stephen from Adventure Game Geek. So if you haven't listened to that, we'll leave links down below. I think they've done about 3 or 4 episodes as well. And really interesting. They talked about FMV games on their last one, and really good fun. And then whilst we're talking about Adventure Game Podcast, tune into the Adventure Game Podcast, which I've been listening to now for years. Really good in-depth discussions, and kind of what we do as well, talk about news and stuff like that. So again, we'll leave that down below. That's hosted by Saoirse Dunbar and a couple of other fellas, Thomas and Laura. So go and check those 2 out.
Definitely. And FMV is actually a part of the adventure game mod which doesn't get mentioned all that often, but there's some quite good games in there.
There is, yeah. Maybe that's a future episode. I think that's what the Adventure Game Hotspot have covered. But yeah, I think that's maybe a future episode for us, perhaps.
Could well be.
Yeah. Let us know down in the comments what your thoughts are and what are your favorite FMV games. Let's stick it in the calendar now. We'll do it in the next couple of episodes. Right, guys, I think we've come to the end of time. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks where Turian will be talking about the antiquonia.
Yes.
That's what it's called, antiquonia. Yes. And yes, see you later, guys. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.